Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where you might be in the exact same position as me. You have just completed the Lord Entertainer Fabian fusion, and if so, I'm going to walk you through how to build him in today's video, and I'm going to lay down some of the basics here of building mine and seeing what we want to do. Initial reviews are in, and yeah, pretty much what you'd expect. You know, this is not a champion for dungeons, but for faction wars, hard mode coming soon, and of course arena, he's going to be absolutely top tier. So let's dive into it. We're going to break down his masteries, his blessings, his relics, and of course his gear. Um, Quick overview first of all, and the broad goal for this champion. He is generally a go first champion, right? You're going in with his A3 to open up, reducing enemy buff duration and increasing the cooldown of their skills. And then if they've no buffs, you can potentially come in and start go straight into his A2 and start laying out crowd control with the True Fears and the Petrifications. And that's sort of the core of his kit. I've got, I'd say, 5 core concepts for how to build him. Let's go actually through these one by one. Number one is just simply going as fast as possible. I don't recommend this one, but it's certainly a build that you can do, which is you just go maximum speed and you don't care about anything else. The downside is that you could lack in accuracy and any sort of stats to stay alive. But the benefit is that he'll be super, super fast. So if you're going up against enemies that have other speed champions and they don't have any stone skin, they don't have any resistance built at all, he might still be able to lock them out. And yeah, I think this is a very difficult build to do. And I think you've got likely plenty of other champions like Arbiter, etc., that can benefit from your fastest gear. I prefer to go as fast as possible on speed boosters, i.e., champions with increased turn meter. But yeah, I think this is my preferred build. Or well, there's a couple of variations, but fast pinpoint. Again, the idea here is we try to get him in 4-piece pinpoint, which is going to protect him from polymorph on his A2. An alternate version of this build is just simply mixing in a few pieces of feral, a few pieces of pinpoint, a few pieces of protection, of speed set, righteous, divine speed, basic perception, even any sets that are going to be giving you speed and accuracy, and you're just going to try to stack your speed and accuracy as much as you can in a little bit more of a balance. So, for instance, let me give you a direct example. And let's talk about accuracy requirements as well. If we look at, let's say, my fastest champion, just to give you context, is Sifi, who's 428. Now, she's going to be fairly speed tuned in well with, let's say, Armand's is a good bit slower. This is going to be, if Sifi is the go first build, right? You could see if I was to put Fabian into this gear, I could get him pretty close, not as fast, but close to 428, but he wouldn't have any accuracy. Whereas, let's say, Armand's, he's going a lot slower, but still very fast, but he's now got much more accuracy. Or we've got Yumiko. Her gear's not as good as Armand's, and she's not a 6-star, but she's still pretty fast, and she still has a good amount of accuracy. So that's sort of the levels of build, or the relative points of builds that we might be talking about. Fast Supersonic, this is sort of what I've got in Armand's. This is also a very strong sort of build. Supersonic gives you turn meter when enemies receive buffs. So it's particularly good for Fabian because he can reduce buff duration with his A3. So having him really fast means that, let's say, if my Sifi, for instance, goes first, puts up a bunch of buffs, she doesn't have that much turn meter boost. Maybe Fabian will be able to cut in, and especially with temporal chains, and then he could actually remove those buffs. So really would hard counter me. So that can be a good way to counter your speed champ. So I think that's a really good build as well. Fast in Supersonic. Another couple of builds I'm not a huge fan of. You could do 4-piece stone skin and make him fast. Now the downside is, right, if we look at fast Supersonic, we're getting like speed and accuracy from every piece of the set. If you start going into stone skin, obviously with stone skin, you're not getting any speed from your 4 pieces of stone skin or any accuracy. So it's going to make it harder to hit your stats. I personally don't think it's worth it, but it is a build that you can absolutely do. Another interesting variant could be 4-piece Supersonic, 4-piece Stone Skin, which is, again, that more go second sort of thing, where you go, maybe even 5-piece Supersonic for the speed. So it's like, I'm going to sit in Stone Skin, let you buff up, and I'm going to try cut in and remove it. And if I don't cut in, if I'm not fast enough, I'll be protected by the Stone Skin. I'm not a massive fan of these stone skin builds for Fabian. I feel I for myself much prefer committing to speed and accuracy on the champions I want to be fast and just forgoing Stone Skin. Interestingly enough, apparently Embrys, who people are starting to get, I will do a showcase on him. I think I'll get him next week. We've got 2 reviews in game so far. I believe he actually is 100% chance to remove Stone Skin. 100%. There's no 50-50. Usually there is. He just removes it straight up, apparently. So yeah, that's kind of nuts. Okay, so there we go. We've got some concepts for Fabian. Quick question. How much accuracy do you need? And then we'll set up the build. Take a look at your champions. If I take a quick look at like my damage dealer, so like Frolny, he's got about 300 accuracy. The chicken, bit over 300. 270 here on Carnage. If I come to, I've got really only 170 on Marius. Wukong, 240. None, basically an Eilil. So you're going to have, that will give you a rough concept for how much resistance you need. And then look at some of my supports, right? So a bit over 300, a bit 330 for Sifi. And you say if we put in Mikage, she's got none at all. Lazarius, about 300. Freya, she's got a good bit more, about 390. This is sort of the minimum. These champions are not built intentionally for resistance, and you should look at your own level of account. I would say for most players, 200 bare minimum accuracy. For endgame at my sort of level here, 350 the minimum 350, and then probably going up more like 400 or 500 to be a bit more safe. To go through, you could look at like my highest resistance champs are probably around 800, which I feel is a little bit low. But if you're looking to maximize accuracy, probably like 800-ish is what you want to be aiming for end game. Again, look at your level of play. What sort of builds can you actually do and adjust your numbers? I've given you some relative areas for speed and accuracy so that you can build your own sort of concepts. Now, let's actually look at Fabian. So we are going to use the Hell Hades optimizer for this, which is the best way to build champions. Obviously, full disclosure, I obviously write for hellhades.com, but it's still the best way. Oh, I'm blocking it, but there is a little toggle over here, which will put your champion to maximum level. So you can actually start simulating their build straight away, which is great. Okay, so we're going to come over. Let's actually switch over into optimize. We are going to go for a balanced mode. You don't want damage mode. You could go for survival, but survival mode isn't great for arena because it's going to do a calculation between HP and defense. And defense is just not very good in arena because, well, everyone is stacking as much ignore defense as possible on their damage dealer. So we generally want to ignore that. Over here in configure, if you don't have his masteries done, you're going to want to input these manually. Let's look at his masteries now. This is what I think I'm going to go for. So obviously, I think the support tree is pretty straightforward. Definitely pinpoint accuracy. Definitely charge focus. That's a lot more accuracy. Definitely swarm smiter. And I think definitely arcane celerity as well. He puts out so many debuffs on his A2. It's going to give you just a lot of extra turn meter, which is great. And then I think probably definitely Lore of Steel for a little bit of extra speed and accuracy. Master Hexer doesn't actually do anything with his kit, but it will with Harvest Despair. And then Eagle Eye for more accuracy. I think that's fairly straightforward. I've given him Evil Eye for more turn meter pushback. And I've also given him Exalt in Death. Now, what I'm going for is I'm going to be, by the way, grinding these in Minotaur, which is why I don't have them done right now. And that's how I'm going to finish off his levels and get him his masteries, just grinding Minotaur, because it's more efficient. There's a lot of different ways to go. I think this way is how I'm going to go, but grab him. The resistance, kind of useless, but improved parry should be good. Less damage from critical hits. Wisdom of Battle, block debuffs for a turn, a chance of it if he gets crowd controlled. And I do think with Wand of Submission, people might be throwing his crowd control back at him. Harvest Despair, I think, is kind of fun. You get a leech debuff, a 60% chance for one turn when placing, in this case, True Fear is what he's going to be placing a lot. So I think this could be kind of good. He'll put out a bunch of leeches, which I think could be quite nice, especially for Faction Wars hard mode, for keeping your team alive and healing, giving you just an extra bit of healing for your damage dealer in arena. I think that's actually likely to be decent, and Master Hexer can extend that leech to 2 turns, which again, I think is kind of nice. Then Retribution, counterattack when he loses some HP. I think Cycle of Revenge is pretty good as well. You could also give him, maybe Deterrence is even better. Yeah, actually, I'll ditch Cycler Event. I'll go for Deterrence. I think that's going to be slightly better. So that's what I'm going to do. His A1 is pretty good when he counterattacks and enemies have no turn meter, because then it can place a True Fear, which is great. His A1, he'll True Fear if the enemy's turn meter is fully depleted. So if he gets smacked and they've no turn meter and he counterattacks, they won't have any turn meter for him to steal, but at least he can True Fear them in return. So that's what we're going to go for with his masteries. I think like this, you could obviously mix it up. You could, instead of going like this, you could go over here and you could go, you could go like that. It's pretty standard. Or you could go again like that if you want the Harvest Despair. It's really up to you. I'm going to go like this. You could ditch Evil Eye and grab Delay Death, whatever you want. I think this is, again, there's variety, but this is, I think, generally the way to go. So we're going to set those up over here. We'll give him Defiant, which doesn't really matter. Give him Pinpoint Accuracy, Lure of Steel, and Evil Eye. Okay, great. Now you can decide to use artifacts from locked champions. That could be something that's good to do. Battle shouldn't actually matter for him. For the stats, this is where it's going to matter. We're going to say no priority on attack. Actually, I think we can probably not care about defense either. We don't care about crit rate, crit damage, and we don't care about resistance. We really care about speed, accuracy, and HP. So we'll set speed to the number 1. Accuracy, I'm going to set it for me to 400, I think, minimum. We're basically, actually, I'm going to set it to 425 minimum, so that when we do get a 5-star blessing for him, he'll be up at 500. That feels pretty good. And then we'll set HP as a fairly low priority, maybe at that. And I think that should be good. For speed, I'm going to set him with a minimum of like not 260, of 360, just to trim down some of the gear that the optimizer is going to churn through, and we're good. Over in the slots, we want to include basically everything. You could, in fact, include all these flat stats if you wanted, because you're looking for the most speed possible, really. I'm going to delete most of these. I'm going to say use HP or defense gloves. You could let him use any. You could let him use in fact, I'm going to let him use the flat stats. I think that's going to be fine. And again, over here, I'm going to let him use basically anything. For boots, we only want speed boots. And yeah, the ideal, by the way, speed boots is ideal. Accuracy chest plate is ideal. And HP % gloves are ideal. But I am willing to sacrifice some defensive stats to get a bit more speed and accuracy. I mean, we can turn off like resistance and attack %. And yeah, again, over here, his ideal set, HP is best. HP is best for the amulet, and accuracy is best for the banner, but we might sacrifice those for some other stuff. Now, we come over here. I'm going to try him, first of all, in Pinpoint. Let's see what it can do. Can we get a good build in Pinpoint? And then let's try it without it. So here we go, Pinpoint. You could set up glyphs if you want. I'm going to leave it for now. And yeah, here we go. Let's click Start, and we'll come back if it can find anything that will work for him. In fact, while that's working, let's talk about relics. There are, I think, 3 main options that I will draw your attention to. His budget option is Molten Death Bell. Molten Death Bell will give him main stat accuracy, which is going to help your accuracy requirements, and it will give you turn meter when applying CC, but in particular, True Fear and Petrification. He can do both. So this is really good. This is your budget option. Should be fairly easy to get. A good few Molten Death Bells. They're only from Chimera, and they're rare. It's a great budget option. An even better option is this one. Temporal Stagnator is like an upgrade to this for you. Again, main stat accuracy, but now it's got mid stat speed, which is better. And you've got a chance, 20%, that upgrades. Again, you could probably get it to level 3 or 4 pretty easily. And you could get up close to, a 30, 35, maybe 40% chance. Ultimately, you can go to 50% chance to still increase skill cooldown when landing a weak hit. So this will make him more consistent at locking out. He'll still do it on weak hits, which is great. And it's got more gem slots. So this is a nice upgrade over your Molten Death Bell. And then I think probably his best in slot is likely to be, shocker, best in slot for almost everyone, the Wand of Submission, which is that chance to reflect crowd control back. Main stat HP is fine. Mid stat speed is great. Late stat accuracy, only at level, I think, 15 or 18, is accuracy, which is, again, decent, but it's pretty small and it takes a long time to get there. But this is just so strong for reflecting stuff back. So like if he does get polymorphed off of his A2, for instance, it will give you a chance to throw it back, which is incredibly strong. You could alternatively give him something just for pure speed if you want him to be really fast, but I probably wouldn't go that way. I'd put that on somebody else instead. And yeah, I think they are the three that are worth highlighting, that are going to be particularly good. Chrono Cube could be kind of interesting as well. It has bad stats, but it sort of guarantees his extra turn, A3 into A2. That could be cool. But yeah, Hand of Uncreation is okay as well. But yeah, I would generally be going for those other three first. He'd also be, I'll also point out Orbit Transfixion, because he does his A2 a lot. He has that bonus attack on his A2. You could be stealing some buffs potentially, but I would, again, prefer the other options instead. So that's what I'd be looking for in terms of relics. Also, we should mention in terms of blessing, probably the temporal chains. This is going to be your way to go if you're going for something like supersonic, and if you're going for a slower build, because this will lower enemy speed. Now, one thing to watch out for, 6-star, this is incredibly strong. 15% turn meter decrease for all enemies when they receive a third active buff. That's incredible. The downside for this is it will trigger a Marius A1 counterattack, so watch out for that. Any of these turn meter reduction stuff against Marius, who's super common, is very bad. But this is incredibly strong and makes, again, if you're not going for max speed Fabian, that's really good. This is probably his most standard one. Polymorph is an acceptable choice if you're expecting to get debuffed by enemies, and it can hurt enemies with debuffs on their A1. It can be good against mythicals that might try to transform and debuff you, so it's fine. Yeah, then the other main one I'd say would be Intimidating Presence. Fabian, this makes your aura stronger. Fabian's aura isn't that good, but it's usable for sure in Siege. It's usable for sure. Likely you're going to be using a better aura, like you'll have someone like Arbiter or something like that. But if you've got a very, you basically want him to be in a speed team, a team that goes first, pretty much. He wants to be fast. So having the best Intimidating Presence aura possible is a good idea. So he might be your highest Intimidating Presence blessing for your given team. So in that case, it's worth picking. I would prefer to have the Intimidating Presence on someone with a stronger aura myself. That's, I'm going to be picking anyway. And I'll put Temporal Chains on him instead. So for example, like I've got my Sifi, for instance, has Intimidating Presence because she's a speed champion. She doesn't have a speed aura, but she's going to be going in with, a Lazarius or someone like that will have a speed aura. So yeah, that's sort of what we're looking at. Okay, so one thing I've noticed putting this in was I was actually struggling it without including artifacts on locked champions. I wasn't able to make the build. I'm actually very much lacking in pinpoint for undead, which is a problem. So one thing we could do is, number one, we can have a quick gander. It's still early enough in the optimization. This won't be fully accurate. But if I include gear on everyone, he's going to steal. We can get some pinpoint this way. I'm actually going to include some glyphs on him, particularly speed. I'm going to have him glyphed at least 5 speed. And we'll glyph him with, I think, at least 10 accuracy. And that will help us so much. So we'll optimize. We'll actually stop this. We'll clear it. And we'll go again. So we actually will include some glyphs. And we'll see if that makes it a bit easier for it to come up with a build. And we'll come up with a better build. Just because I didn't realize, actually, I have no one in Undead. Actually, this is equipped. Nobody in Undead has any pinpoint gear on them. And I, in fact, don't even have a pinpoint ring. Which is actually going to make this build a lot harder. And might mean we have to ditch pinpoint as a potential build for him for now. Luckily, I do have a decent accuracy banner. Not triple speed, but it's a double. It's pretty good. And yeah, so that will make it a lot easier. And we can, in fact, we could tell it to auto roll up the artifacts as well, wherever it is. I don't know. There's some option. Here we go. We could, max them out and whatnot. But yeah, okay, I think it should be fine. We'll see what it comes up with, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. First attempt at looking at the build. We can switch over to a list, and we can see as well. Interesting. We can see actually the number 1 build, 361 speed, 439 accuracy, and almost 80,000 HP. I mean, we can take a quick gan. He's actually stealing off almost nobody. We have to fix Podreg. She is just for Cursed City, so this actually works pretty well. Okay, that's really not bad. It has gone for a HP percent chest, which is interesting. I see this, our fastest build it's come up with is 376. We're losing a lot of HP, but I'm not too pushed about it. And we're still 425 accuracy. That's really not bad. So again, we've got that. I actually might prefer that one. overall. And what we could do is we can click equip in game, and it will do that, and we can then save the champion preset. It's not quite going to work because I'm actually surprised. I don't know why it included the amulet. He can't actually wear one. But hey, there we are. He's not ascended yet. So yeah, we can have that, and we can now save that as a preset to reference back to, and yeah, just sort of get a vibe for it. Can I try on the banner? What happened? Will it just say he can't wear it? Obviously, we don't have his masteries done. Yeah, no, we don't have his masteries done. He's not leveled up, etc. So it's not quite going to work, but that's a good basic one. Let's come over. I actually want to see. We're close. Can we push him to like 370? Let's just clear it and go again. And this is something you can do, guys. Keep coming in and adjust and be like, okay, maybe 400 is plenty. Okay, let's do that. Let's say, okay, what about only 400? And let's actually be greedy. Let's say 380. But you can keep tweaking it all sorts of different ways. Keep tweaking it up and down and try to get your preferences. Let's try again. See, can we get a 380, 400 speed and pinpoint? And then let's take off the pinpoint. Let's try supersonic. Well, let's try no gear at all, just any gear at all. Then let's try supersonic, and let's see what we can do with the main sort of sets that we're looking at. Ooh, interesting. So no possibility to do it with this build. That's fine. My gear's not good enough. Right, we'll remove the pimp. I'm curious what it's going to come up with now, and I'm actually going to tell him not to steal off of lock champions, and let's see what it comes up with here, first of all. So we'll run this, and we'll just see. This is, again, use any gear whatsoever, trying to hit 380 speed, 400 accuracy. Is it even possible without stealing off my already geared champions? Let's find out. Okay, results are in, and considering we are not stealing gear from anyone, anyone important anyway, pretty good. So again, we got the 380, still the 426 accuracy, actually. So we'll take a look. Yeah, interesting. So this is actually going for a protection build, 5-piece protection, and it actually is throwing in that pinpoint banner still coming in. Couple of perception. Okay, obviously my perception gear is pretty good. That seems pretty reasonable. I do like that one. This one's got a chunk more accuracy, not losing much HP. We'll take a look at this. Stealing from more people. So like stealing this Mithrala chest piece, that's a pretty big steal. We might want that for somebody else. This one's got loads of accuracy. Take a look at this. Again, it's stealing from Mithrala, so I'd rather not. Ooh, we've actually got apparently really good feral. Okay, we've got good feral. Cool. Well, that's pretty good. A couple more things. Yeah, we're gonna do one with I've forgotten the name. It starts with S. Supersonic. There we go. We'll try him with 4-piece supersonic. We'll see what that does. Can it work? And actually, let's crank his accuracy down a bit. Let's assume. Let's say 375. So we'll say we get 75 from the blessing and 50 from a relic. Let's say that for now. Let's see. We'll actually set this as a priority as well. We'll keep speed as number 1. And we'll clear and we'll go. Oh, is it not possible? Oh, no, it is. Okay, great. And yeah, I'll let this one run. And then we'll be back. And I think what I'm going to do, having looked at these, unless this comes back at something crazy, I think we're going to go in with this same stat requirement. And we're going to see what we can do with non-set gear. Just, again, that general stuff. Just as much speed as possible. I think that's what we're going to do. So, yeah, I will try that. And we'll be right back. Wow, okay. One possible build. We have one possible build with it. Okay, stealing off Lamassu. That's actually probably fine. Wow, you can see to do this build, he'd have really low HP. Because he'd be in, like, attack gear. Flat defense chest. Interesting that this is a possible build. And again, the accuracy's fine. I think that's okay, but I think what I'm going to go is, yeah, it's interesting that that is a possible build. I'm going to remove this, though. We're going to run it again. Sorry, I've not put it in the full screen. We're going to run it again with these stats. So the lower accuracy, the higher speed. One final run with the glyphs turned on and everything. Don't steal off of lock champions, but steal off of anyone and just go maximum speed with this much accuracy. We'll see what we come up with. I think that's how I'm going to settle. I think I'll be giving up a little bit too much right now to put him in pinpoint or supersonic. So I'm just going to go for max speed and accuracy. But yeah, there we go. Right, let's see how it goes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. I think this is going to leave us in a good spot for now. And oh, sorry, I need to click show final results. There we are. I think it leaves us in a good spot for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely see come back after I get some more supersonic gear, roll up some supersonic gear, see if it rolls well, and see if we can get him into that supersonic eventually. His pinpoint is way out the window. So this is the build it is suggesting, and honestly looks pretty solid. We're actually going for feral, because it's got good speed, and I guess feral set does give us a lot of accuracy. We can equip in game. By the way, in game I have been messing around a good bit. I've been doing some background battles while this is running, getting him some masteries. I did get him ascended and whatnot. I'm going to save this as a preset, but I'm not actually going to apply it quite yet. In fact, let me delete this preset for a second, because I did have a quick gander as well, and I actually saw, I was like, I'd really rather not use this chest off Mithrala, because Stone Skin, he's not using Stone Skin, and that's such a valuable set. So I wanted to see what else I could do. So we'll look for accuracy chests, we'll hide the set filters, we'll even look at equipped, and we'll just see our fastest chest pieces. So again, I don't want to steal this one off of Mikage because it's protection. I don't want to steal the Stone Skin. I don't want to steal that off Marius. We could steal speed off of her. That would be okay, but I was actually thinking this should work pretty well. I've got a triple speed. I don't want to steal Merciless off of Mad Hatter. That's pretty high value as well. The options, we could steal this chest. It's not bad. Or we could steal this one. It is a triple speed. And the stun set, again, we'd love to use that on somebody else, but I think honestly for now, it's fine. And we can ascend it with accuracy eventually. Once it gets glyphed up, it makes up for the speed. It's actually got lots of great defensive stuff. It's a really, really good chest piece. I think this will do, because we've actually got 4 speed and triple over here. So I don't think we really want to ditch anything else. I guess the option would be, this is only a double speed. We could drop this double speed helmet for a perception piece, maybe, if I had a triple speed divine speed somewhere else, and then we could have the perception chest. But I think it's fine like this, though. I'm honestly very happy with this. We glyph it up, we get him rolled up. I'm not going to put the gear on right now because it will just slow down the masteries. But yeah, there we go. We're in a good spot for Fabian. He should be coming out around 380 speed. Ultimately, obviously, would love, for me personally, to get him closer to 400. That's really hard to do without a 6-star blessing, though. And he's still going to have actually plenty of accuracy. And I actually saw we are going to steal the relic off Mithrala, who I'm not using too much. She's got, I only have the 3 Molten Death Bells, Torment and Armans for Arena. I don't use Mithrala so much, so I'm actually going to steal this from her for now. I might be able to actually get this ranked up as well. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And we're actually going to level this up and have this on him right away. And for the gems, anything that's going to give turn meter, this one's giving resistance. We don't want that. But anything that's giving him turn meter, extra turn could be good. I think this is pretty good. Turn meter when an enemy loses 25% or more HP. This one's also good. Turn meter when he fails to place a debuff. Again, that could be really good as well. I'm going to go with this one when enemies lose HP. We're going to try that and see how that goes. Started to mastery him up, and there we go, guys. That is Fabian. Yeah. Good luck with building him. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. We'll be doing a Fabian showcase soon. We get him going in Arena. Catch you next time. Goodbye.